Hey guys,
I'm Sarah.
I'm Kaitlyn,
and we are your best friends.
Welcome to our channel once again.
Nice.
Today, what are we talking about, Sarah?
We're talking about what to expect before going into high school. A lot of things that you need to know, especially from the perspective of we already made it through high school, so we're going to give you pro tips. We're going to go all into it, but also keep it real because we know you freshmen are looking for some specific pieces of advice and what to expect, so we're definitely going to get into that today.
Yep, so get ready to be prepared for high school in ways you never expected. So with that, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, join our friend group. We are your best friends. That's how we do it around here.
Yeah.
So join.
Yeah. Join. Also check out our website, yourbestfriends.org, and go read some of our blog posts. I feel like somebody needs to hear that. Go check out some of the blog posts. We keep it real over there, and you definitely need to read it. There's a lot of truth inside of them.
So we're just going to go through different categories, different things you're going to want to expect in high school. We're just going to get to the juice right away, okay?
So they just left 8th grade. Now they're going to freshman year of high school. What's the first thing we want to talk about?
Dating, okay? Wow. For girls, you want to hear about the boys, but don't worry if you're a guy watching this, we're going to touch on what the girls are like.
Yeah.
I'm going to quickly speak from my experience though, because in 8th grade, especially the summer before high school, I thought about all the time how I was going to go to high school and I was going to find a really cute boyfriend. Maybe he was on the football team and he was really popular and cool, and that was my dream, okay, was to find a wonderful boyfriend in high school. Because of that, I did go through a little boy crazy phase in high school, which you might go through, and just be wary of that. Remember that the people you're dealing with are aged like 14 to 18. I'll speak for what the boys were like, and you can add for girls if there's guys watching this, but for every good guy that's out there, which sure, there's gonna be a good guy out there that loves God and all these things, there's a lot of guys that are super immature and they just want casual hooking up, sex. A lot of them want you to send nude pictures, so watch our video on sending nudes. What I would just encourage you is that's why you kind of need to be careful when going through the boy crazy phase, because it can be easy to just want that attention from a guy.
Love and
attention. It's so innocent. You just want a boyfriend, you just want that cute guy who's so popular that you're gonna do physical things or send pictures or have sex just to please him, because also that seems like more normal in high school. That's just more openly talked about, and more people start having sex and all those things. And I'm just talking about it now. It's okay. Like, if you make mistakes, that's why we're here. We're your friends, but guard your heart, because high school relationships really aren't worth it. A lot of the guys have not grown up yet, and they don't want the right things, and they're not going to be able to cherish your heart the way that your heart deserves to be cherished. So when it comes to dating, I would just say, like, there's a reason if you have parents that are kind of annoying that are like, you can't date till this age. It's actually because they're trying to protect you, because there really is no reason to rush into dating anyone, especially when the guys are just, they might be a little immature.
Yeah, definitely. And if any guy tries to touch you somewhere, if any guy sends you any sort of pictures or says anything with the winky face emoji and he's insinuating something inappropriate, cut it off now. Garbage. That is honestly the devil using a person to try and infiltrate your purity, and that goes for guys and for girls. Like, that is the devil trying to infiltrate your innocence and your purity. That person isn't the devil, but the devil's going to be using some people, and the best thing you can say is stay innocent and stay pure in mind, in heart, and in action. You will reap, like, whatever you sow, you reap, and you will reap a really good life if you just sow or continue to stay innocent, basically, and just be a kid. All right, so when you first get in, freshman year begins, like, the doors have opened, it's time for school to start. I just feel like throwing this out there for guys and girls. It's a really exciting time because there's so many new freshmen, you know, it's like Fresh Me, and also like a lot of schools, like, you're merging certain groups, are like new groups are coming in from middle school. And honestly, don't be discouraged if you kind of like are thinking about guys or you're thinking about girls, don't be discouraged if like you don't get that kind of attention, like where all the guys are flocking after you or all the girls are liking you if you're a guy. Like in high school, people are kind of just followers.
Yeah.
And it even goes on into college, just it cloaks itself in different ways. But basically, like, the guys just end up liking the girls that look like what is cool, like look like what is the goal. And so guys will like those kinds of girls, and girls, we tend to like this certain kind of look as well. So don't be discouraged. Just like get involved with your friendships and with school, academics, and with your family. It doesn't mean anything if like these guys are not like giving you all the attention. It doesn't mean that you're not beautiful. It doesn't mean that you're not special. Like, it's just that we are dealing with a lot of just like immature followers in high school, so it'd be best to not take it personal.
And even one thing, going back to the purity and just protecting your innocence and stuff like that, also sex can be involved, or like physical things, which could be the reason why maybe you feel like heartbroken that a guy likes some other girl and that you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. It might not be that you're not attractive or you're not beautiful. It could be so many other things. And just going back to that purity, like know that putting your boundaries in the sand and knowing what you stand for and knowing what you do not want to do, it might drive some people away, but at the end of the day, a lot of girls and guys are actually going to respect you a lot more for that. They might not want to date you, but the right ones will. So just want to encourage you too that you'd be surprised how even a person who doesn't think the same way as you, when you draw a boundary like that, they end up actually thinking you're cool and respecting you.
Yeah, for sure. I could honestly attest to like, I was the girl that guys would like, but as soon as they found out that I love God and that I'm not gonna give away anything and I'm pure in mind and heart, I didn't get that kind of attention like some of the other girls do, where like these guys, because it's like they're looking for an easy something to basically tell their other guy friends about. And same with girls to guys, like girls just want to like tell their other friends like, oh, I got this football player, I got this guy. It's not as personal as you think. Stay strong. It's really, really worth it to just remain innocent and pure.
Now we're talking about making friends. And this all comes down to personal experience, but I did find it was a little bit easier to make friends in high school than it was in middle school. Maybe I just went to a really toxic middle school, but everyone was super mean and very cliquey and rude in middle school. And in high school, there's a lot of different groups and they're kind of spread out and everyone kind of minds their own business. Like the country kids hang out with the country kids, the nerds stick with the nerds, like all that stuff, okay? And I can say that because I was a little bit of a nerd. I would just encourage you, when it comes to making friends, just be social. Like, you're probably gonna make most of your friends from the people you're in your classes with, and that was hard for me because I was in IB classes, which was they were like the honor classes, so I didn't really get to meet a lot of the people from the rest of the school. A lot of my friends just came from this small, like, specialized program, but that's okay. Like, just join clubs, talk to people in your classes, and you'll find your group. Like, it's all good. I was super nervous going into high school about who I was gonna sit with at lunch because it's so intimidating, especially when I toured the high school. There was like so many tables and the lunch looked so huge. And I just want to say two things. One, there was definitely a few times throughout my high school experience where I actually had to go to the library and not sit with anyone at lunch because I felt like I didn't have anyone to sit with because my friends didn't come to school that day, or my high school had different periods for lunch. So like I got a period for lunch that my friends didn't have. Okay, if that happens to you, you're not a loser, you're normal. Like,
yeah,
it
a lot more people do that than you think.
Happens more than you think. What I will challenge you to do though is don't exclude yourself from friend groups when you're friendly with people. Like, there was people that I could have asked like, hey, can I sit with you? And I automatically excluded myself thinking they're not gonna want me with them. And that's silly. Like, obviously don't ask like complete strangers that have no idea who you are, but if you're friendly with someone in class and you don't know who you're gonna sit next to at lunch, just be like, hey, where do you sit for lunch? Can I sit with you? And don't be afraid of rejection, because most of the time, unless someone's a total jerk, like, they're gonna let you sit with them.
Yeah,
so
who the heck is gonna say no?
It's so rude. So don't exclude yourself, because that's also why I ended up alone sometimes, because I just assumed people would say no, which is so dumb.
Yeah. So dumb, but so many of us think. And I was on the opposite spectrum. I literally came in freshman year of high school, I'm like, I am not sitting alone. Literally, first normal people I thought, I was like, yo, can I sit with you guys? Can we all sit together? You can make it happen. Like, especially the first few weeks, like, everybody is low-key nervous and shy. You're not the only one. It's literally everybody, and you will actually be the one helping everybody out if you just kind of try and make a, like, lunch table group. And, you know, even if it's throughout the year, your friends don't show up, you can try and ask somebody, or you can sit at the library alone and like do that. But if you're like Kaitlyn and we're thinking those thoughts of like, it's not true, like you can ask anybody and it's gonna be fine.
People want you around most of the time. Don't assume they don't.
This is a big one, and I think people gave me this advice before going into high school. You're gonna meet like a lot of people first few days and weeks. You're gonna meet people from your classes, from like maybe some athletic things you're involved in or clubs or extracurriculars, and do not just cement yourself to the first few people you become friends with. I heard this before and it's really so true. You can end up isolating yourself with this friend group because like you want to stay close with them and prove to them like, yeah, we're close friends, but be like open. And I was the type where I was like, oh, they're gonna like feel like I'm leaving their group if I go talk to other people. Screw that. Just be open and be friendly with everybody, because some of the people you think you're gonna be closest with in high school end up being polar opposite. Like you do not want to be friends with them. And some of the people that you never thought you'd have anything in common with actually end up being some of the friends that you want to hang out with like casually, not just like at school, but like at home, talking, eating snacks. So be open and don't close yourself off. The most practical way I could say that is like, if it's like week number 2, if your mind is like, yeah, I guess that's it. That's like my only friend group. Like I'm already solidified. Honestly, just say a quick prayer, be like, God, I feel like I'm not that happy with this kind of friend group. Can you please like give me an opportunity to like meet some new people, or give me the strength to like talk to a few different people? And he will. So just like throw up some prayers to the Lord, because he really, really cares about your life, your experiences, and he wants to help you out and lead you. So that's definitely what I did. I thought I made a mistake. It was like week 2 of freshman year, and I was like, crap, I do not like this friend group at all. They're kind of weird. And I remember telling God, like, did I make a mistake? And then I prayed, and then boom, like new opportunities happened. So yeah.
And then you have more connections with more people. Like it's a win-win.
Yes.
Quickly, last thing on making friends, I'm just gonna say, don't let fear hold you back from doing anything that you want to do. I'm gonna give you a quick example. In high school, I really wanted to join the weightlifting team.
Yeah.
And I was super nervous because I had no idea like what was gonna be expected, or how. I didn't know anything about weightlifting, but it sounded cool and a fun way to work out. And I almost didn't do it because I was scared of what it was gonna look like. Because of that, I met so many friends. I learned how to work out. I did a lot of good things, and there's a lot of stories like that. So just want to throw that in there when it comes to joining clubs and stuff. Please don't let what people would think of you, or none of my friends are joining this, or I'm gonna look like a loser. Don't let any of that keep you from doing it, because you just won't have that much fun.
Yes, and also I would say this too when it came to clubs. I'm like, oh, it's too late. Like I haven't ever cheerleaded, so it's too late to try out. Oh, I'm too old now to weightlift. Like they've already. No, that's literally a lie.
Like, girl, you're 15. Get it together.
Exactly. And I literally didn't do so many things because I thought it was too late. I was 14 years old.
We're not trying to go to the Olympics. Like, it's fine. Just join.
Join. Like, join. Please, just join. You will not regret it, even if you're the shyest person in the world. All right, and now we're about to do a little break in the typical tips, and we just need to address something to you incoming high schoolers. This is so important. So basically, we do have to acknowledge that in the last 6 years, honestly, like a lot more has changed. In the last like 15 years since social media has like come into the game, you know, like you and I were in 7th grade when Instagram hit the scene, and it has exponentially, like big time changed since then. Social media, YouTube, like everything has made your guys' life much more different than it even was when we were in middle school. And so all that to say, we aren't talking to high schoolers, you incoming high schoolers in the 2000s. We're talking to in like a new kind of world. And so I just have to like name some things that are kind of gonna seem normalized potentially at your high schools, but it is not normal, and we're highlighting it so you could keep an eye out rather than you going in blind. We really care about you. So I'm just gonna say some of the things that like you might notice are normalized in high school nowadays. because like I would love it to be a video about like, oh, how to decorate your locker and like all these innocent things, but I think you high schoolers, like the game has really been changed for you guys and you don't care as much anymore about simpler things. Now it's like things like you're gonna hear a lot of things about like eating disorders and anxiety and depression. You're gonna hear things about like new age, like manifestation and tarot cards and crystals, and like you might even hear about like guys and girls who struggle with like cutting themselves or who don't ever eat, or you're gonna have guys or girls asking you like, do you watch pornography? Do you like watch these inappropriate things? Do you do these kinds of things? I just want to let you know, like, none of these things are normal, and if you hear it and like if there are groups of people participating in any of these things, like that's not the Lord's desire for you or for them either. Like it's not God's desire that any of these kids in high school have crazy anxiety or struggle with cutting or do this new age stuff. Like none of this is normal, and so keep your eyes peeled and also be aware. Pray for those people a lot, but just know, like, don't get sucked into any of that stuff that I was listing, and definitely support people who like mention the depression and the anxiety stuff and the cutting stuff. Pray for them in your own time, but don't start to get sucked in that maybe that's you, maybe you should do this, maybe you should. No, that stuff is like really infiltrated because of social media. Now everybody everywhere at all times is aware of all this new stuff, so instead of it being every high school had their own environment, like now you can get any sort of thing in any high school. You're aware of so much, and even being obsessed with like the aesthetics and like how you look in your body for guys and girls. So really, like, we really feel you on that one, so we want you to just be strong and say that it won't be like this forever.
Yeah, just be aware of what's being talked about around you, and you can mentally separate yourself from that, because you're gonna hear things repeated. Like you're gonna hear girls looking in the mirror talking about how they hate their body.
Yeah.
And you're gonna hear people talking about how they're so depressed and so down and so anxious. And you're gonna hear people talking about how they're manifesting this and they're manifesting that. You're gonna hear it and you're gonna wanna repeat these things. And then when you repeat them, it starts to become you.
Yes.
And that's why it's just important to mention that to you, because you can hear, you can support, you can help people, and you can still keep yourself separate, and don't let those things steal your joy.
Yes.
Next, I'm going to quickly touch on drama and bullying. All I'm going to say is it totally depends on the group that you hang out with, especially if you go to a big school like I did, because there's groups that are total full of drama and they're all mad at each other all the time and it's a disaster. And then there's groups where you're healthy and it's chill and you have healthy friends and it's all good. So all I gotta say is, if you find yourself getting mixed up in a new drama every 2 days, maybe reevaluate the people you're hanging out with. Yeah. Maybe the group that you're with is a little toxic, okay? Because there's a lot of fish in the sea. It's a big school, it's a big world, and just like Sarah said, you don't have to stick with the first people you hang out with. You definitely don't have to settle for friends that are constantly dragging you into petty stuff. So just for drama, just want to say, like, I found high school less dramatic than middle school, but it's also probably because I hung out with more relaxed people. So just watch who you spend your time with.
Yes, it all depends. Like, you might not experience any of this, or you might experience a lot, and a lot of it is who is around you. All right, this one's really important because with social media, a lot of the girls or guys might be like posting certain things on Instagram, and like there's just can potentially in high school be a lot of environments of talking crap about people and gossiping, and like girls hanging out and you guys having sleepovers and like finding it fun to like look through people's Instagrams or social media and like make fun of them and stuff. And I just really need to say this statement, and I was like this too, and it was true for me then. But like, when you talk a lot about anybody, when you tear down certain girls, when you in your group like all are spending time talking about other people, any of you that are participating in it, you're basically just radiating insecurity and jealousy. Like, that's all you're doing. I promise you, you might think that, no, they're just a loser, or they're just a tryhard, or they're just like weird, and that's why we're talking about them. No, you are radiating insecurity and jealousy when you do that, because you wouldn't be wasting your time, personal time, talking about anybody else unless they had something that you were jealous of, or they had something that you just want to tear down to bring yourself up. That's really like tough, but I'm just gonna keep it real. Like, it is hard. It sometimes seems fun in those environments to do that, but it is just an insecure jealousy fest. So I say that strongly to know, like, if any of you guys find yourself like in that environment or you're doing it, stop. Like, just stop, because it kind of is just saying that you have like a lot of insecurities and stuff, which are worth looking into and God helping you with. But it's not worth it tearing other people down, and you're actually allowed to call out other people for doing it as well. They're probably gonna hate being called out because the darkness hates the light. You have full permission actually to call somebody out on it, because it'll make it a safer environment in the long run.
Yeah, don't make gossip a habit.
Yeah. And lastly, I was just gonna say that you guys are made for the time that you're in. I feel like some of you need to know, like, your life is not an accident. You entering your freshman year right now, like where you live, your group of friends, your teachers, your classes, none of this is an accident. Like, you are not a victim, you are a victor in your exact situation. God is completely aware of you. You weren't just born into this world and forgotten about. Like, where your place is for a purpose and it's for a reason, and you're not forgotten. You're extremely valuable. So you need to know that. Even the time of like year that we're living in, you were made for this exact time. So get into that with God and ask Him what you were made for, because you were not made to live a victim, struggling, like tough life. You are so valuable and you are so special, and you will do so well, like so well, if you believe that.
That's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Please remember that.
Please remember that. We do it too. And so with that being said, y'all, remember, subscribe to our channel. We love having you here, and we will see you in the next video.
Bye, guys.